Hey, folks. Uh, I set up the stream mainly because I wanted to test out the kind of like streaming setup that I have here. Although, don't expect this to be like a regular thing because streaming is very hard and it takes a lot of energy that I don't have. Uh, but I have a microphone and I have a webcam, and I decided to test out how well they work. So let me know if you can hear me. I presume you can see me. Uh, yeah. So is my microphone working? Like I have this you can hear and see me. Okay, good. I have an XLR mic plugged into an audio interface plugged into my laptop. Um, uh, and and I've never tried this before with this particular setup. Also, you can hear me, but does it sound like you can hear me through this microphone or through like the built-in microphone in my laptop? Does it sound like quality mic audio, or is it like super cheap and echoey sounding? Check your mic again. Hey, wait a minute. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to keep going. If this microphone isn't working, but my laptop mic is, then I'll just do the stream with my laptop mic, and I'll try to figure out figure out this microphone later. Tap that. Yes, that's a good plan. I was going to do that. So I'm going to give a little scritchy scratch to my microphone, and y'all tell me if you can hear it. Does that sound like it's coming from this microphone? No. Okay. All right. Well. All right. So I guess I have to work out how to properly use my microphone and my audio interface. Your French pronunciation is on point. Thank you. Mon français est très mauvais. J'y pratique et je pense m'améliorer, mais mon français est encore très mauvais. Désolé. Seeing your face is breaking my reality. I'm not used to it. Well, I mean, if you stay to the end of my videos, I do show my face at the end of every video. And since this microphone is not working, I might as well just get it out of the way. Nice scarf, looks comfy. Thank you. A friend of mine made this. J'ai-tu le français aussi, hein? Good for you. Yeah, being Canadian, I took, of course, French from like first or second grade until 12th grade, but not much of it sticks. And I didn't take it. I didn't take it in university. In university, I took German and Russian. I took 3 years of German and 2.5 years of Russian. And I started learning German actually when I was like 12 on my own, and I continued studying German on my own after university. And my German has gotten better and better. I can get German pretty well. But my French I've let get atrophied, I guess we could say. Ja oder da? Ja und da. What do you think about the near future of minority rights? Oh, the near future? Well, I mean, it depends on where you're talking about. I'm lucky enough to live in Canada, where things seem to be getting a little bit better. Canada just passed legislation banning conversion therapy. And the U.S., or at least certain states in the U.S., seem to be going in the opposite direction. So in Canada, so far it looks pretty good. In the U.S., not so much. Will you ever enter the Discord debate scene? Probably not. That looks like a fucking cesspool. How tall are you? 5'5", or 165 centimeters if you're metric. Sorry about the dead air. I'm just reading through the comments. If free will doesn't exist, does that mean that my art is useless? I don't think so. Why? I don't see how that follows. The debate scene is a dumpster fire. Yeah, it looks like that to me. How do you think so critically? With my brain. Yo, you're a big reason I'm agnostic. You do great work, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Do we have responsibility? Short answer is yes. Short answer is yes. Are you still Gnostic? Was I ever Gnostic? Is YouTube your full-time job? I mean, it's my only job. I wouldn't call it full-time. Favorite philosopher? That's a hard question because the philosopher that is the most influential on me had mostly very, very good ideas, but also some extremely bad ideas. And I would say that that's David Hume. In terms of his epistemology, I agree with almost everything he said, but he was also a very, very ignorant racist. He had ideas about race that seemed outdated even for his time. Are you against religion as a concept, or do you think that it's just the administration's people that have corrupted it, or maybe something else? I don't know. No, I'm not against religion as a concept, and I'm not, on the whole, against religious institutions. Although it depends on the institution. There are plenty of corrupt religious institutions, but the religion is such a varied sort of set of worldviews. Like it's hard to even define what is a religion. So to make a broad brush statement about religion in general would be very difficult. What does TMM stand for, and why did you choose that name? Okay. For those who are newish to my channel, TMM stands for the Messianic Manic, and that is a line from a song by a band I'm very fond of called KMFDM. It's an industrial band, and it's from their song Megalomaniac. And the reason why I went with the Messianic Manic is because I tried another line from that song, which was the Nihilistic Mystic, and that was taken. So I was like, okay, well, Nihilistic Mystic is taken. I'll go with Messianic Manic. And the reason why I switched to TMM is because it's an atheist channel, so it's weird for it to be called the Messianic Manic. And also, I thought using the word manic might be kind of ableist, so I switched to TMM. Okay, this is off topic. What's your favorite book slash novel? My favorite novel is Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. It's my birthday. It's me birthday today, so I'm gonna celebrate, but just thought I'd pop in and say hi. Well, hello to you and happy birthday. Do you think consciousness is just a brain product, nothing woo-woo? Uh, I don't know if I would use the word product so much as I think consciousness is a brain process. It's something the brain does. Watch the Ehrman and Lacona debate. No, because it was paywalled. If it ever becomes available for free, I will certainly watch it. I'm a big fan of Bart Ehrman. Greeting from Toronto. I've been to Toronto many times because I am also Canadian. Will you ever make a TikTok? There's a whole atheist community there. I thought about it, but I am very lazy. Uh, I suppose it would be relatively easy to just take the videos that I have and like maybe clip bits from them and put them on TikTok, but I just haven't gotten around to it. What do you think why thinking evolved? Because it is useful for survival and reproduction. I mean, that's a short answer. Is the stereotype that Canadians are all super nice true? I mean, it's certainly not true that all Canadians are nice. There's so many like reactionaries that are big in the States that come from Canada that I mean, I think fairly clearly demonstrate that. Um, but in general, my experience is that Canadians are they're less self-involved relative to Americans. So when I go to the States, it seems like people walk around with a certain kind of like swagger that I don't see among Canadians. In general, although although that something that I've noticed about people working service industry jobs in the States is that they are uh, exceptionally obsequious in a way that Canadians are not. So, like bartenders, waiters, and waitresses in the U.S. seem friendlier than in Canada, and I suspect that the reason why that's the case, if my anecdotal experience it reflects reality, is because I think uh, in the States, if you are a service industry person and you're not super friendly, you get like a lot of flack. You get people uh, you get people getting angry at you, whereas that's less the case probably in Canada. And I've also noticed that service industry people, when they're people of color, are even more friendly than white folks who are waiters and waitresses, especially if you're a woman. Yeah, probably. Did Sisyphus Redeemed once call you the messianic mechanic when reading your comment in a video? I didn't see that. I don't think so. Like I've known Sisyphus Redeemed for quite a few years, so I doubt it. Like I think he'd know how to pronounce my name by now, unless it's like a super old video. Ironically, while being more self-involved, Americans have a harder time imagining what if X bad thing happens to me quite often. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Um, yeah, yeah, maybe. maybe Canadians have an easier time or have a more common habit of imagining themselves in other people's shoes. Maybe that explains the difference. Have you seen the debate William Lane Craig had with Raymond Bradley over hell? No, I hadn't heard of that, but I will. I will look it up. I like that your videos are primarily audio focused. I usually listen while I work, like podcast. Kind of wish they were longer. Ever thought of editing together an extra long compilation? I have a lot of like older videos where I summarize debates, and sometimes I'll take usually back in the olden days when YouTube was more rewarding of shorter videos. I would summarize like a hour and a half debate, and I would cut those summaries into like three parts. And there was a while that I took some of those old like debate summaries and I edited them together into like 15-20 minute long summaries. Maybe I'll do some more of that. Have you read Dune? Oh boy, have I ever read Dune? Yes, I've read Dune 3 times, and I've read all of Frank Herbert's Dune books and a bunch of a bunch of Brian Herbert's Dune books. I think they're in total, if you count both Frank Herbert's Dune books and Brian Herbert's Dune books, I think there are like 22, 23, and I have read, I think, 17 of them. Have you ever been to Seattle? No, no. In the States, on the West Coast, I've only ever been to Southern California, like Los Angeles, Anaheim, but I've never been to Oregon or Washington. Uh, I've seen a lot of the East Coast, and I've been to Milwaukee, but that's it in the U.S. Does Brian Herbert deserve the dislikes he gets from Frank only fans? Uh, mm, Short answer is yes. Brian Herbert's books are very silly. Frank Herbert wrote like 6 books in the Dune saga, and he meant to write a 7th to sort of like finish up the story. And Brian Herbert wrote a couple of books to sort of finish off the story, and the ending he comes up with is very, very stupid. It is so silly. It's like if uh who's the guy who directed Transformers? It's like if that guy wrote the end of the Dune saga. It's completely silly. Michael Bay, yeah, exactly. If Michael Bay wrote the end of the Dune saga, he would come up with the exact same thing that Brian Herbert came up with to end the Dune saga. Is it cold in your house? A little bit, a little bit. I do live in Canada. Have you ever read or played I Have No Mouth but and I Must Scream? I've never played the video game, but and I guess I can't really say that I've read it, but there is an audiobook of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream on YouTube, read by the author, by oh gosh, what's the author's name? I know he wrote an episode of Star Trek. Anyway, the guy who wrote Harlan Ellison, yeah, Harlan Ellison has an audiobook of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's on YouTube. It's a short story, and I think it's like 45 minutes long. And I totally recommend listening to it because it's a good story. And also Harlan Ellison's reading of it is very, very good. Like I don't know if Harlan Ellison's read any other audiobooks, but he's a very, very talented audiobook reader. It's great. In your opinion, what is the worst apologist argument for God? That's hard to say because I do come across a lot of low-hanging fruit. Oh gosh, like my brain is so flooded with examples that it's hard to pick one. Would you ever do an atheist experience episode? Probably not, um, just because, like, talking off the cuff is very, very tiring to me. Like, I don't expect that this live stream is going to go for very long. So I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, if they begged me to do it, maybe I would do it, but short of that, I doubt it. I hope you go vegan, TMM. Yeah, I'm working toward it. I have replaced the milk in my coffee with soy milk. That's and I try to go for like vegan or vegetarian options when they're very available, but you know, uh, willpower is lacking with respect to my dietary choices. Are you a moral realist or no? I'm not a moral realist. No, I think morality is subjective. Try almond milk, some good stuff out there. Yeah, I've tried almond milk and I like the taste of it, but I guess the reason uh, why I decided not to use almond milk instead of soy milk is because I heard that almond trees take a whole lot of water to grow, and that soy is better for the environment. So I went with soy. But almond milk is tasty. What made you want to start YouTube? Also, you should do more socio-political topic videos. What made me want to start YouTube? Interesting story. Uh, I was just thinking about this. I think it was probably yesterday. When I was 8 years old, I saw a trailer for a movie that I still haven't seen. But this trailer for this movie, the trailer was for the movie Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater. Not a hugely popular movie. I wouldn't be surprised if none of you heard of it. But Pump Up the Volume was a movie about a guy who ran a pirate radio station. And I think it came out in 89 or 90 or 91, something like that. Well, I was 8 years old, so I guess it would have been like 90. Yeah, 1990, 89 or 90. And anyway, Pump Up the Volume was about it. Christian Slater had a pirate radio station, and when I saw this trailer, I had no idea what a pirate radio station was, but I saw this guy who was like broadcasting his opinions over the radio, and I saw that, and I was like, "That's for me. That is what I want to do." Uh, and 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 for until YouTube came along, I didn't really know how to do that. But when I got into college in 1999, my first year at college, after I registered for my classes, the first thing I did was I went to the campus radio station and I said, "Sign me up. I want to be I want to be on the air in the campus radio station." And I did a few campus radio shows, and that was fun. But it wasn't until YouTube came along that I saw like an opportunity to really do what it seemed to me like Christian Slater was doing in Pump Up the Volume. So when YouTube came along and I saw other people like doing this kind of thing, uh, I thought, yeah, I'll do that too. And it seemed like the kind of thing that when I started doing it, it was fun and so forth. So I kept doing it. That Maybe that's a bit of a roundabout answer about why I did YouTube, but that's how it is. Which Canadian celebrity least deserves their fame? Maybe Gordon Lightfoot. Um, because like I hear, um, maybe it's kind of old hat, but it used to be the case that Americans, whenever they would make a joke about Canadian celebrities, they'd mention Gordon Lightfoot, and I'm like, Gordon Lightfoot. He's not even that big a celebrity. You should really watch the movie. It's totally corny in a late '80s way, but it has some good messages. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It looks like a good movie, and it inspired me to go down this road that I've gone down. So I should probably see it eventually. Do you ever get tired of covering the same apologist arguments? Yes. Uh, although, yeah, I mean, like every now and then I'll find someone who phrases it a little bit differently, maybe comes up with sort of an innovative way of articulating it. Uh, and I like to be thorough in my responses. So like I'll tweak my arguments against them and redeliver them, sort of repackage them for each new articulation. Because one of the fun things about uh, arguing against apologists is that it gives me incentive to refine my own sort of understanding of my own beliefs, understanding of my own understanding of these concepts and these arguments and these ideas. And that might be the most fulfilling thing about making these videos is that I get to like really pin down exactly what I mean, exactly what I think, um, and um, and refine my ideas. Hey there, as a trans person, I just want to thank you for always being incredibly respectful, thoughtful, and a defender of those marginalized by evangelicals. I'm glad to hear that. I try. You know, uh, I am very sympathetic and have always been sympathetic to the LGBT community. Quick thoughts on capturing Christianity. You know what? Cameron, I kind of like him. He seems like a nice guy. Although, I have friends who've had some bad run-ins with him, so maybe he's not as nice a guy as he seems to me. Um, but no, I find engaging with his arguments to be pretty fun. What do you think of Stoicism? I like Stoicism on the whole, although there are some like woo-woo elements of Stoicism to which I do not subscribe. But a lot of Stoicism I find to be useful. What's your favorite Terry Pratchett book? I've never read any Terry Pratchett, and I know I should. I watched a Sean video about Terry Pratchett because like some turfs seem to think that Terry Pratchett would have been on their side if he were still alive, and Sean made this really great long video about Terry Pratchett's novels and how it's very unlikely to be the case. So I haven't read any Terry Pratchett, but I wish I had. Are you a post-positivist? Um, I know what positivism is, but I don't feel like I have a full understanding of post-positivism. Um, I'm pretty sympathetic to positivism, so I don't know if post-positivism would be something I would subscribe to. Who's your favorite YouTuber? Sean is pretty far up there. I'm also a big fan of Red Letter Media. Have you heard about the connections between rapidly growing Pentecostal churches and right-wing movements in places like Brazil and the Philippines? No. Um, I hadn't heard about that, but that sounds very depressing. Do you keep in touch at all with Abby of Philosophy Tube? Um, Abby, like I haven't talked to Abby since before her transition. She did a video about like the connection between like Darwin and leftism. And when she was preparing that video, she sent me a message on Twitter saying that she was like looking through some of my own videos on evolution, and she told me like they really hold up. They're still pretty good. And I was like, thank you, Abby. I didn't call her Abby because she wasn't going by that name back then, but that's the last time I heard from her. I did hang out with her in person in at VidCon in 2018, but I haven't heard from her recently. Mm. Could you please tell me, is this stream going to be saved? Probably, probably. I'm probably going to keep it up. It like maybe or maybe, you know, I'll, watch it again later and think, "Oh, this is cringe," and I'll take it down, I don't know, but, yeah, 70% chance that I'll keep it up. Ever thought of doing another inspiring philosophy response? Maybe I will. Maybe. Spring or fall? Fall. Autumn. Autumn. Maybe unlisted but in a playlist? Yeah, maybe. I have a couple of other streams. Maybe I'll put it in a playlist of streams. Favorite three movies. Hmm. Uh, my favorite movie is Spaceballs. And you know, I like when people ask me my favorite movie. Sometimes I wish I could say it's like some kind of like really intellectual artsy fartsy movies. But if I'm completely honest, my favorite movie is Spaceballs. Is determinism does determinism mean fatalism? That's an interesting question because I suppose it depends on the definition of fatalism. I've always understood fatalism to not just mean determinism, but also that the people who claim to be fatalists seem to think they have some kind of understanding of what their fate is, uh, and uh, and I don't know how you could possibly know that. How many genders are there besides only two? Well, yeah, I think gender is a spectrum. I think gender identity is largely a matter of self-perception and self-concept. So, you know, there in principle could be as many gender identities as there are people. Um, yeah. Uh, while there may be as many there could be in principle as many gender identities as there are people. I suspect that there are also lots and lots of people whose gender identities have the same definition, have the same idea. Uh, while like if you were to ask every single woman on the world, what does it mean? What do you mean when you say that you're a woman? Um, Obviously, you're not going to get a unanimous answer, but I think you will get several identical answers. Your views on compatibilism. Compatibilism is the idea that determinism is true and free will is true um, because your will is still free as long as it isn't coerced or the product of being like drugged or etc. even if your will is determined, as long as it's determined by your brain, free of coercion and manipulation, then it's still free. And my thought on that position is that the difference between compatibilism and determinism is purely semantic. They just define free will a little bit differently. So I think it's actually a kind of trivial distinction. Matt Dillahunty is a compatibilist, if I'm not wrong. I hadn't heard that, but all right. Compatibilism is the cargo cult of free will. I don't know. That doesn't sound very charitable. I don't know if I agree with that, but like I just don't. I wouldn't call myself a compatibilist because I think it's just a really trivial distinction from determinism. Have you seen Mr. Robot? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? I saw the first episode of Mr. Robot. I found it kind of boring, so I didn't watch anymore. Apologia Heart. Yes, Apologia is a very nice guy. I also heart Apologia. Did you hear that slap heard around the world? Yeah. Yeah, you should make a you should make a TikTok. You would do great on it. Yeah, maybe I would. Maybe I would. Maybe I will. Maybe I will make a TikTok. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Lol, I meant Paulo Gia is here. He is? Paulo Gia is here? Oh, I see him now. Hey, Paul, how's it going? I had to scroll up in the comments a little bit. This is an interesting comment. The question of how many gender identities there are is a lot like the question of how many colors there are. There are as many as recognized. Yeah, and the distinction between colors is very culturally contingent. For example, the reason why we call people with red hair, why we say that people with red hair have red hair, even though it's clearly orange, is because that dates back to before we had a concept of orange as a distinct color from red. Orange was just a kind of red when people with red hair started being called redheads. If free will doesn't exist, does that mean my future is already decided? Well, decided that sort of anthropomorphizes your future, doesn't it? Like decided by whom? If you mean your future is already laid out, probably. You know, if you believe in the B theory of time that says that all points in time are equally real and all points in the future are equally a part of reality as the present, then I suspect so. Hello, Mr. Deity. Good to see you here. All right. If I remember correctly, the Russian language has a separate word for light blue, like English has pink for light red. Yes, that is exactly true. One of the Russian words for blue is sini, I think. I forget what the other one is, but yes, blue and light blue in Russian are two different colors, just like red and pink are considered two different colors in English. Checking in from Prince Edward Island. Hey, guy from Prince Edward Island. Sorry, I don't even know that you're a guy, but person from Prince Edward Island. I've been there many times. I love it there. I even considered, on and off, I consider moving there, but But the call of Newfoundland is even stronger. Maybe I'll move to Newfoundland. Like I was in St. John's in 2017, and I loved it there. It's just so great. TMM, did you watch that excellent Kalam video that came out recently where they interview the philosophers and the scientists? No. That's interesting. I haven't seen that. Although I've seen a couple of good Kalam videos recently. I don't know if any of them are the one you have in mind. No, don't move to PEI. I'm only here because I have to be. The bigotry and Christian zealotry is rough. Oh, that's disappointing to hear. I have a lot of friends in PEI, but I mean, because they're my friends, uh, they have sort of like more like my worldview. But if they're not indicative of the total population, that's unfortunate. Have you seen the Terminator 1984? I'm not sure I've seen the whole thing. I remember having watched and enjoyed Terminator 2 when I was a kid because everybody loved that movie in the early 90s. But I don't know if I've seen the first one all the way. I've seen like several scenes from it, but I don't think I've watched the whole thing. Have you seen Monty Python: The Holy Grail? Yes, I have. Dude, is this your first live stream or have I missed others? I haven't done a live stream in quite a few years. This isn't the first one. I have two others, but I haven't done them since 2018, 2017, 2016, something like that. Any anime you watch? No, I don't watch anime. I watched like the first one or two episodes of Naruto, and well, I didn't really like them. I remember when I was a kid, I watched Astro Boy, like in the late '80s, early '90s, and that's the most anime I've seen is Astro Boy. Do you think causal finitism is true? You know what? I don't think I've ever heard of that, so I do not know. Thoughts on the new Batman? I haven't seen it yet. Feel like TMM might enjoy Evangelion. I might check that out. I might check out Evangelion. There's robots. Death Note is really good. Yeah, I've heard good things about Death Note as well. Would you collab with Rationality Rules or Cosmic Skeptic? Probably not, um, because like collabs make me very, very nervous because I'm always afraid that my contribution is going to be disappointing. So I haven't done collabs in a long, long time. Favorite video game? StarCraft 2. Who is your favorite apologist to take on? Does Ben Shapiro count? He's always fun because he says like the goofiest things. Thoughts on T Jump's moral system? I don't know what T Jump's moral system is. Uh, exactly. I don't watch a lot of T Jump. I've noticed you don't collab with similar creators. It makes you mysterious. Um, that's a very flattering way to put it. I mean, it's mainly just because I'm shy. Okay, please answer. Can we work for a better future or are we fated? Well, I mean, maybe we're fated to a better future. I don't know. How long does it take you to write your scripts roughly, and how much research do you do? How long does it take me to write my scripts? In terms of hours, I would say 4 to 8, depending on the video. Generally 4 to 8. Um, how much research do you do? It depends on that also depends on the video, of course. Like I have so many books on like apologetics and philosophy that I can refer to eh, that are so useful in so many different scenarios that usually I can just like pull a book off a shelf and look up whatever quote I need to look up pretty quickly. Um, and because I've been doing this so long that I find myself going back to the same books over and over again. So, in terms of like taking in new stuff, I don't actually do that much of like new research. Love your work and your style, TMM. Keep it up. Thank you for the very generous super chat, Neko. T Jump is a moral realist. Oh well, I mean, they're different. I suppose there are different kinds of moral realists. If he's a moral like Platonist, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's coherent. But I haven't heard him articulate exactly what his moral system is. So maybe he has a variety of moral realists that will make sense to me. But I doubt it because I'm not a moral realist. Would you ever take on a video about Tim Pool, or would that just be a waste of time? He seems to be more of a Trump apologist than anything religious. I have a video about Tim Pool. Let me look it up here. Yeah, like two videos ago, I did a video about Tim Pool. Yeah, Tim Pool made some like arguments about why he's not an atheist, and they were all very silly, and I did debunk them. So if you look at my videos and you go back, like I think it's like 2 or 3 videos, there's a Tim Pool video in there. What are some reliable, up-to-date reading material on atheistic philosophy? Yeah, I'm off the top of my head, I can't think of any very recent books on atheism per se. The last uh, really good, useful book that I read was Bart Ehrman's last book, Heaven and Hell, about how he describes how the Bible doesn't really describe a heaven and hell the way most Christians conceive of it. Um, uh, the idea that if you're a sinner, when you die you go to this place where you burn in a lake of fire forever, that's not actually in the Bible. The Bible doesn't say that anywhere. Thoughts on cryptocurrency? It seems difficult to create a cryptocurrency that is worth the resources and time and effort that's put into it. I can't say that there are no good applications for it, but it seems like the good applications for it are overshadowed by the absolutely colossal amount of fraud and grifting involved with it. Thoughts on NFTs? Same. It's pretty funny to me that a stadium is named Crypto Center. I think that's the one in Los Angeles that used to be called the Staples Center. I mean, the stadiums being named after corporations is, I think, very, very tacky in general, but um, it was extra tacky when the Staples Center changed its name to like the Crypto.com Center or something like that. How would you define atheism, lack of belief in God, or belief that there is no God? Both. There are multiple, equally legitimate definitions of atheism. Um, One of the most annoying things about discussing pretty much anything, especially on the internet, is that a lot of people don't seem to accept or maybe even consider that words can have multiple, equally legitimate, different definitions. How do I grow taller? And I'm 5'5". I'm the wrong person to ask. Favorite Theremin Trees video? I have to go back to like some of his early. Off the top of my head, I can. The one that springs to mind is a video that he did with his brother Qualia Soup about substance dualism. I don't even know that's still up. That's a really old one. That's from like I think more than 10 years ago, but that was really good. Are you a musician too? Well, I mean, you know, I dabble with various instruments. I don't know how good I am at them. Like when you say I'm a musician, that seems to me like a claim to competence, which I'm not confident that I have. But I make noise on various instruments. I have a guitar, I have a bass, I have a keyboard, I have drums, and I play them at some degree of competence, I suppose. Are you subscribed to PewDiePie? No, I'm subscribed to that Indian channel that was competing with PewDiePie. I don't even remember the name of it, but I'm subscribed to that one out of spite. Why don't you play music at the end of your videos anymore? A couple of reasons. One was because T-Series, yeah. One of the reasons why I don't play music at the end of my videos anymore was because I'm lazy, and the other reason is because like I was mostly playing like covers, and I was worried uh, about like the copyright police coming after me. Thoughts on the ontological argument? Well, you go through my channel and like do a search for TMM ontological argument. I have several videos on that. But to sum it up, the problem with the ontological argument is that damn it, I lost my train of thought. The problem with the ontological argument is that it tries to prove that God is more than just a concept. You know, that God is not fictional, using nothing but concepts. And how do you do that? How do you make an a priori argument for a thing's existence? That seems to me like it would need some kind of empirical component. If it doesn't have an empirical component, and you're just trying to establish existence, which means being more than just a concept, being more than just fictional, using nothing but concepts, you got sort of like a bootstrap problem. Thoughts on Kent Hovind? He's gross. I mean, he's a criminal. Um, he seems to be a domestic abuser, allegedly. Although I think that's still being worked out in the courts. The ontological argument runs into the synthetic analytic distinction. Yeah, I never thought about it that way before, but yeah. Thoughts on the five ways of Thomas Aquinas? Um, they don't prove God. Uh, I imagine I've probably done videos on the five ways before, or at least some of the five ways, but I don't remember what all of them are. Who is the king of late night? Well, I mean, I don't know what that means, but I can tell you who my favorite late night guy has been, and that's Conan O'Brien. I remember, especially back in the 90s, from like 96 to about 2000, that's like peak Conan. Uh, and I was a huge fan of Conan back then. What do you do other than YouTube? I knit. I didn't knit this scarf, but I'm working on a blanket right now. In the year 2000. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was great. I love that they kept doing in the year 2000 well after 2000. Have you seen the new cinematic masterpiece that is Morbius? No. I might watch it if it like comes out on like Netflix or something. But I'm definitely not going to see it in the theater. Favorite MCU film? Uh, mm, Definitely one of the Spider-Man ones. Probably. I mean, I haven't seen the newest Spider-Man one, but the one before that, Far From Home. Yeah, Spider-Man: Far From Home so far is my favorite MCU movie. I haven't seen the new Spider-Man yet, but I expect I'll probably enjoy it. Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet, but I definitely plan to eventually. I've seen most of the MCU movies, but I haven't seen the last like 3 or 4 just because of like COVID and because of COVID and I haven't gotten around to renewing my Disney Plus subscription. Hmm. Is God dead? And if so, did we kill him? Um, I don't know what that means, but that reminds me of when I was in philosophy class back when I was in college. Uh, Someone asked the philosophy professor, we were talking about Nietzsche, and someone asked our philosophy professor, um, when Nietzsche said God is dead, does that mean that Nietzsche believed that God was alive at some point? And they were taking that saying way too literally. And a philosophy professor was like, no. And my explanation of what Nietzsche meant when he said that God is dead is Nietzsche, when Nietzsche said that God is dead, he meant that in the same sense as when people say that disco is dead. When Nietzsche said that God is dead, all he meant was that God as a concept has gone out of fashion. And that's because of science and secularism, yada yada yada. What made you want to do your videos with commentary on the screen? I find it interesting. It's easier than showing up in like it's easier than showing up on camera. I find that uh, draining and laborious. That's the primary reason, and the other reason why I like to put the text of my script up in my videos is because if I use arcane words or big words, uh, people can see how they're spelled, and then they can Google them. Now, if you don't, spell like big or abstruse words out on the screen, and you use them, people complain that you're using too many big words and it's hard to follow. But if you spell them out and people can look them up, they tend to appreciate it. At least that's been my experience. People have told me that they like when I use big words and I spell them out because they get to learn new words. Are you subscribed to Mr. Beast? No. I've seen a few Mr. Beast videos. I don't find them that entertaining. Okay, so we're rounding out the hour as of now. I think I'm going to quit because this is very tiring for me. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I am signing off. Uh, Maybe I'll do this again someday, several years from now.